Hey guys, so before we get into the video, I just wanted to address some inaccuracies with my last video. By the way, thank you so much for all the support on it, the comments, the likes. I really appreciate it. It's incredible. It's a video that unfortunately was deemed non-advertiser friendly, so I doubt I'll see any money made from it, which, you know, is a shame, but this is about entertainment and education first and anything else second, and this isn't my job or anything. It's just a bit of fun and I enjoy doing it. So all the support is incredibly appreciated. So Joey's TCaP channel, if you don't know who Joey is, he's basically Chris Hansen be God and he be Jesus, if you want to put it that way. He's responsible for a lot of, you know, like discoveries. Like he released Vincent Ambrosio's interrogation footage years before his segment was shown on Chris's website. He's responsible for uploading a lot of funny clips and memes and stuff like that. Clips from the show that otherwise have been difficult to find, like some of the Predator Raw clips. And he basically just left a comment correcting some mistakes I made. So apparently the Dekalb County sting was released or is released. I haven't been able to find the footage myself, but apparently it is out there on the internet somewhere, so I guess I'm just not looking hard enough, but if he says it's released, then I don't doubt it is. Manzi and Popovich's chats have been released apparently, so either that means that Mike's supposed, you know, brownies, edibles chat has been released and I guess that exists, or maybe he means that no, that chat doesn't exist and Manzi's chat we do have is just what it is. Popovich's chat log was actually uploaded to a Google Drive, but I couldn't find the drive. I think it's been taken down. When I clicked on the link it was gone, so I guess that's lost again. Apparently, no, Mike Manzi is not related to Ron Knight. That is a rumor, it is not true, so all I'm going to say is let's stop associating good old Ronnie Knight with this man, because it's unfair on him, it's an unfair rumor. There could be any number of reasons that he wasn't as aggressive with Manzi as he is some of the other suspects. It's impossible to say, but we can say for a fact that he is not Manzi's uncle, and Joey knows pretty much everything. He even managed to get a hold of the recent David Schumacher arrest footage. I'm going to take his word for it, he's a reliable source, and I appreciate him taking the time to leave a comment and call out my mistakes, and I just wanted to address them here in this video. Also, an interesting piece of lost media that I didn't mention. I don't know if this is lost, it might not be. Again, maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. Chris Hansen mentioned that Vincent Ambrosio, Stephen Buchanan, and John Dupee were contacting more than one decoy, and I don't think those chat logs have ever been released, so that's a little bit of lost media for you. It's interesting to think about that there are actually chats there. Maybe they're not especially long chats, maybe they're just that lacking in evidence of intent or whatever that they're not worth posting or whatever, and we already have enough evidence of intent from the main chat logs, you know, with Jenna Claire and Bailey, but it would be interesting to see if those ever surface one day, but since Tetrad Core is no longer a thing, that seems unlikely. But yeah, just another interesting piece of lost media I forgot to mention. So yeah, on to the next part. Today, we will be exploring the unseen and lost footage and documents of Chris Hansen's Predator investigations. Why don't you have a seat and we'll talk about it. This is To Catch a Predator, the lost footage and chat logs. Bethpage, New York, is where the very first sting operation took place. In conjunction with Perverted Justice, Dateline conducted the sting operation to catch men who tried to entice minors on internet chat rooms and subsequently meet them for sex. How these stings worked is Perverted Justice would create accounts on the internet chat sites posing as underage children and see who would message them, engaging in chats with the suspects when reached out to. After organising a date to meet, the suspect would arrive, be interviewed by Chris Hansen, be exposed on television, and leave in shame. The sting took place in May 2004, and 8 men, including the now infamous schizophrenic Matt Dark Hero Dooley, were caught, although only one was ever prosecuted and sent to jail. Ryan Hogan. This is because the sting was not done in conjunction with the New York Police Department, so no on-site arrests were made. None of the other men were sent to prison for their crimes, although Dooley would wind up being put back in psychiatric care following the sting, with Hansen later dubbing him
the most potentially dangerous predator I've caught.
All chat logs were published after the sting and are available online, although no uncut interview footage has ever surfaced. Hogan's police interrogation footage has also never been released, and it's unknown if it ever will. The Fairfax sting took place in November of 2005, almost 2 years after the Bethpage sting. 19 men went to the home over a period of 3 days, including some of the most famous and quoted predators featured on the show. Joe Wunderler, an army sergeant who wanted the girl to perform sexual acts on her dog, David Kay, a rabbi, and John Connelly, the child-minded idiot who entered the house naked and was caught again outside a McDonald's, not even 24 hours later. Genuinely shocking Hansen and the perverted justice team.
I have been in television for 24 years. I just came to get something to eat.
Even though police were reluctant, most men in the sting were arrested and charged, the most noteworthy exception being Aladdin Shamoun, who absconded to his native Egypt.
Just hanging around.
Just hanging around?
Yeah, I know that the house is for sale.
Oh, that this house is for sale?
Yes, yes.
And what made you thought that this house is for sale?
I heard about it, a friend of mine.
A friend of yours?
Yes.
And what's the friend's name?
His name is Hisham.
And what's his phone number?
He has cellular phone, 703.
All right, it's Hisham, but he's not picking up his phone.
He's not answering?
Yeah, I got his phone now.
Dr. Jeffrey Beck also avoided charges, but had his medical license permanently revoked. Only one uncut confrontation has ever been made available: the physically aggressive David Kay. All chat logs are available online, but no other uncut footage has ever surfaced. Before the show's cancellation, Dateline did a spin-off series called Predator Raw, The Unseen Tapes, where Hansen would sit down and be interviewed about highlights from the show, with some previously unseen footage being shown, most notably Joe Wunderler's "Where's the dog?" quote, inquiring about his wingman. Of particular interest are these very elusive predators who only appeared for a split second, as documented by a now deleted user on the TCaP forums. Most of these men weren't convicted, although all but one's chat logs are available online. Mark Bajette was a male stripper and former amateur football player who, showing up plastered out of his mind, didn't even sit down for an interview before fleeing the house. He returned the next day, and the rest is history. He was later arrested and is now a registered sex offender. John Philip Jarrell gave Hansen a simple "no thank you" before running out of the house with flailing arms. Arpit Maheshwari is somewhat well known for being the umbrella guy that tried to hide himself using an umbrella after fleeing the Sting house to a nearby bus stop following his brief interview with Hansen. Timothy Kane apparently stuck around for an interview, but it's unknown for how long, since the footage featuring him never even shows him sitting down. Amir Farahani was seen walking into the house and being gestured to take a seat by Hansen. His interview is assumed to be a long one that simply didn't make it to the air. He apparently showed genuine remorse for his actions, and was concerned how the sting would affect his future. Jonas Getachew was a predator in adamant denial about his situation shown in the clip of him that has been released, his classic excuse being that some other Jonas Getachew was possibly responsible for the chat, despite him being the one that showed up.
It's not me, I assure you.
So let me get this straight. So there's another guy whose name is Jonas, right? Who happens to look like you and have the same cell phone number as you, and he has the dirty conversation about sex with a 12-year-old girl, but you didn't. But you ended up showing up here anyway.
I don't know about that person.
A suspect only known as Artie was only seen in brief clips, using the Good Samaritan excuse of being there to make sure the girl was okay. Sean, a somewhat stereotypical Asian dad according to his chat, showed up with dinner and a second pair of shoes. He can be seen walking to the house and being gestured to the counter by Hansen. It is unknown if he was interviewed or not. Dennis Thomas was an engineer in the Navy at the time of his involvement in the sting. It is unknown if he was interviewed or not. Harold Higley can be seen in a handful of shots during the episode walking up to the house and letting himself in. It is implied that he has somewhat of an esteemed position in whatever field he's in, as he is shown during a montage in which Hansen describes some of the men as men whom you'd never guess would show up in an operation like this, alongside Jeffrey Beck and David Kay. He would later be involved in another sex sting years later, with various news articles being published about it mentioning him. His chat log is lost, and it's unknown if he was interviewed or not. An unknown man was seen on Dell's bulletin board in the Sting house. His identity, chat log, and whether or not he did an interview are completely unknown. It is possibly a catfish used by Higley, but this remains unconfirmed.
Hello?
Yes, is Joe there, please?
Speaking.
Hey, Joe, it's Chris Hansen. How are you today?
Okay.
Joe, I do a follow-up series of podcasts.
I have nothing to say to you. Stop calling me.
All right, I just want to